Hello and welcome to this edition of YES101's Visual Radio. Bringing you the news, I am Hashini Patirana. And let's take a look at your news in detail. On to our top story this afternoon. President Kumar Dissanayake returned to Sri Lanka this morning after concluding a 3-day official visit to Germany. President Dissanayake departed for Germany on the 10th of June at the invitation of the President of Germany, Frank-Walter Steinmeier. Now, during his visit, President Dissanayake held bilateral discussions with his German counterpart, President Steinmeier, and the German Minister of Foreign Affairs. He also met with key leaders from Germany's trade chambers and tourism sector. The talks focused on strengthening bilateral cooperation in priority areas such as trade, digital economy, investment and vocational training opportunities. In addition, President Dissanayake met with the members of the Sri Lankan community residing in Germany. In more local news, Dr. Geeta Gopinath, the first Deputy Managing Director or the FDMD of the International Monetary Fund, arrived in Sri Lanka today for a 2-day official visit. This visit is significant as it marks the first time since 2005 that a serving FDMD of the IMF visits Sri Lanka. During this visit, Dr. Gopinath will be the guest of honor at the conference on Sri Lanka's road to recovery, debt and governance, co-hosted by the Ministry of Finance, Central Bank of Sri Lanka and the IMF, scheduled to be held tomorrow, the 16th of June. At the midpoint of the IMF-supported reform program, the conference aims to reflect upon the lessons learned from Sri Lanka's experience in restoring macroeconomic stability, implementing debt restructuring and governance reforms, and to focus on the challenges ahead. Additionally, FDMD is expected to hold bilateral discussions with the Sri Lankan authorities and several key stakeholders on the IMF's agreements and engagements with Sri Lanka.
International news.
Shifting your attention to the international arena, a helicopter belonging to Aryan Aviation flying from Kedarnath Dham to Guptakshi crashed in the jungles of Gaurikund, leading to the deaths of 7 people, including the pilot. Following the crash, helicopter services operating in the Char Dham region have been suspended until further notice. The chopper took off at 5:17 a.m. this morning to Guptakshi and was returning from Kedarnath after picking up passengers when it went off course due to poor weather conditions in the Kedarnath Valley. Officials confirmed that the weather in the region was severely bad, which reportedly caused the helicopter to lose its way.
Sports news.
Finally, on your sports update, Max Verstappen said Formula One was annoying and that questions about him racing under the threat of a race ban were childish. The Red Bull driver, who qualified second for Sunday's Canadian Grand Prix, will be contesting the lead at the start of the race with Mercedes' George Russell, who took pole position. Now, Verstappen deliberately drove into the Briton at the last race in Spain, and a resulting penalty has left him 1 license point short of a race ban. And with that, we wrap up this edition of YES101's Visual Radio. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more of the very latest.